And also, again, I'm going to go back to like quantum physics again, and what we really learn from quantum physics is that everything is energy and ultimately consciousness, and that we all actually are totally one. There is no separation. The separation is in our mind, and it's in the and this is also okay. I mean, if we can put this in there, you know what like the German philosophers Hegel and Kant and eventually then Marx, and in that theory is that the false lifestyle, the lifestyle that separates us into the haves and the have-nots, and that we our economic model determines also our consciousness, and the consciousness that we have generally in the society right now is a false consciousness. It's the upside down of consciousness, where we are competing, we are separated, and we feel separated, and whenever we are emotionally a little bit more on the side of fear, then we're feeling separate. It separates us, and then it's an unhealthy concept. And the politicians are trained, and they are very smart in fueling this fear. And this is what we have, what we experience right now. All the populist movements, which are happening simultaneously across the globe, their one common denominator is they all are fear mongers, and that's how they get the votes. Yes, and people are really suffering, and they're in real miseries, you know, but it does not need to be that way.
We had a lot of peer pressure in the 50s, 60s, and 70s. Growing up with trying to fit in, there was pressure. The teachers gave us pressure with the work we had to do. The athletic coaches, there was pressure there. We wanted to do well. We wanted to be picked when there was a game, and we wanted to be chosen. And then when we went home, we had to show our parents our results. So there was lots of concern of performance, and that's very understandable the way we were raised. But we were raised often with this fear-based thing, because coming out of 2 world wars and during that middle time, the Depression, there was this lack of resources, and there was all this invasion, death, and destruction, and lack of food going on. So it would be very normal for our parents to be performance-oriented and to be worried about our survival. So for a young athlete today, there's plenty of food in most places in the Western world to go around, and there are opportunities for wellness, and there are plenty of places to get information. In my opinion, we need more connection. We need more connection to the source, connection to nature, connection to consciousness, and to love. And with all those things, and doing that physical practice like a yoga, a tai chi, a hike, working in the garden, participating in building something, then you're going to see the heart come out, and then the heart we can share that with other people instead of just bashing into them and leaving them or ourselves disabled for the rest of our lives, or partially disabled and having a pain as we have to go through life with a neck that doesn't work the way it's supposed to.
We're getting kind of preachy here a little bit, you know, but yes, there's no reason why we should have pain all the time, especially permanent pain. You know, we're designed. I mean, just look at plants, look at animals, look at the world in a observant way. It is just totally amazing. This morning, I've like come up out of my meditation. I sit in my garden in the dark already, and I sit with my mat in between, but I sit on Gaia, on the earth, and I come out of it and I look at the plants that are surrounding me, and there is this taro leaf, and it has this water droplet, like a big water droplet sitting on it, you know, and it's just amazing. I know it didn't rain yesterday, it didn't rain last night, and I watered the plants yesterday morning. So this droplet, and a big one, is sitting on this plant, and the plant is just very slowly absorbing the nutrients from this droplet. You know, it's just like that's just like a teaching moment for me. You know, and basically what it signifies is the perfection that we are, the perfection that is how the nature works. You know, and just recently I listened to somebody. And you know, everybody's going, oh man, the planet is dying, Earth is going under, you know. And I had this young friend, you know, he's like 25, and she's like, I feel like the burden of the planet. And you know, I heard this guy, and I will repeat like what he says. Okay, let's just like cut this right out here. The planet is going to be okay. We might not. The planet is going to be
The
fine.
inhabitants may not make it, but the
Yes,
planet will
the
make
planet will make it, and the planet has gone through incredible catastrophes, you know. I mean, and each time, I mean, called the asteroid hit or the dinosaurs wiped out and many, many other species, the planet comes back with more diversity and a more variety of species.
Mhm.
It is, so let's think about that, and let's try to tune into that. Another great definition for meditation that I heard recently from a teacher is, you know, meditation really is like attunement to the heart of the cosmos. You know, and in every teaching like Buddhist or other, you know, Buddhists focus on that too. Okay, the breath that you're going out and it's coming in, is going into around here, and you know, you breathing it in, all this stuff. They explain it through that how we are really all one. You know, and if you can get that connection, and connection is really like a key word. If you can that connection to yourself and to the beauty and the amazing things in nature around us, and that's what I have realized when I started my garden. And I'm like, you know, I'm a rock and roller, and I was a city boy for, you know, most of my life. And in the beginning, I always felt guilty. Oh, I'm not spending enough time in the garden, I'm not growing enough, and all this stuff. And so a few years ago, I made a shift, and I said, you know what? The garden is just love. It's just pure love. You put the love in, and it comes back through the plants, and that's the attitude from now. I go into my garden, and I enter like a sacred space, you know. And then my girlfriend, who's like great with plants and nature, and she could spend like a whole day in the garden, and she's going, and we're in the garden, and she there's a plant that is kind of dying and stuff. And she's all freaking out, oh, you know, the poor plant and stuff. And I go, okay, you know, this plant is as happy when it is decomposing as when it's growing. Of course, that's an assumption. I'm not in the plant, but it is, because the plant is not. It feels no separation from its surrounding. You know, and as it is decomposing, and that's why I love like my compost. Compost is just the thing where things rot is the most alive thing. Compost is amazingly alive and teeming. You ever like go at night? You go at night and you just put the flashlight on. Well, it's like the whole earth, the whole compost is just totally alive and moving. You know, it's just amazing. And yes, I think gardening is. You can do it on your balcony, on the thing, or indoors. You can grow stuff almost anywhere. You can grow something, and it is always, the nature is always teaching you and always about connection.
So the connection is up to you. You have to choose the path of health and wellness, mixing in some good performance, but not abusing yourselves and other people. And that's the message I hope you'll take away from this book. And I'm Sifu Slim with Dieter, and we wish you all the best in your health, happiness, and wellness.
I'd like to say one more thing. Here's a great practice of self-love. I think that's crucial for all of us. You know, often we like hate ourselves for one reason or another, and it's in our past, in our history. Here's a good Ayurvedic practice of self-love. And ideally you warm up some oil, and you just give yourself like a whole self massage, quick one, can take like 5 minutes or 10 minutes of your entire body with like warmed up oil, and for people who are very hot can use coconut oil, for people who are not so hot use sesame oil. And it's a great practice, because you cannot go from one day or another, now I love myself, or so, it doesn't always work that way. And but you can practice self-love. That means eating whole, fresh food, making it yourself as much as possible. Those are practices of self-love. And I wrote this article, I will send you the link, of the soul of cooking and how to love yourself. And so yeah, there's many practices of being gentle and kind to yourself. And that will, since it is a vibrational universe, will reflect outwards instantly.
That sounds like a good takeaway message. So we wish you all the best, and enjoy, and let us know in your comments down below, your respectful comments, what you think about these messages. Aloha.
Aloha.